So this video, I'm going to go ahead and cover what we were doing in 3rd grade today, where we were reading My Weird School Special Back to School with Weird Kids. This book is on Get Epic, and we have provided a link for you to go ahead and read the book. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to read chapters 1 through 3 with you, just like we did in class, and do some think alouds and answer questions. I would suggest that you go ahead and take a second and get ready and pause the video. Get yourself a piece of paper and a pencil so you can take some time to answer some questions and practice just like we did in whole group instruction. You should be pausing the video and answering questions and finding evidence and all of those types of things. So pause the video, get ready, and once you are ready, go ahead and resume. Okay, you're back. So we're going to go ahead and jump into the story. We're going to get to the beginning of this little chapter book. This is going to be covered over 3 days. So chapter 1, my side of the story. My name is Andrea, and I love school. Ha! I bet you were expecting this story would be told by my boyfriend and future husband, AJ. Well, think again, silly. Arlo, that's his real name, and his family are in summer vacation in Bermuda. They're not coming back until next week when school starts. So now it's my turn. Finally, I get to tell my side of the story. This is going to be fun. I even got a special notebook to write in. I love writing, don't you? Oh, I guess you can't answer that question because you're on that side of the book, and I'm on this side. Aren't parentheses fun? Answer yes or no here. I love parentheses because I can pretend that I'm whispering into somebody's ear. Like this. Let's get started. Aren't exclamation points fun? I love exclamation points because I can pretend that I'm shouting like this. Exclamation points are sort of like the opposite of parentheses. The more exclamation points you use, the louder you can shout. See? I like question marks too, don't you? In general, I'm a big fan of punctuation. Can you tell? All right, let's pause right there, guys. So right away, we've met one of our characters. Who's our character that we just met? Go ahead and take a second. I'm going to flip back. Who's the character that we just met? Write your answer down on your paper and then resume the video when you're ready. So pause it and find your answer. Who do we meet? So the character that we just met was Andrea, and I can find that by going back to the beginning of the story, and here we have it in our first sentence. Great readers are always going back to answer questions with evidence. My name is Andrea, and I love school. So Andrea is going to be telling us the story. We're going to be hearing her point of view. We're going to be getting her perspective. So let's continue and find out what else we know about Andrea. Anyways, as I was saying, I love school. School is cool. You can't spell school without cool, right? The only thing I don't like about school is that we can't go there during the summer. Do you know the reason why we don't go to school in the summer? It's because a long time ago when most kids lived on farms, they had to help out in the fields during July and August. I know that's true because I looked it up in my encyclopedia. I love looking up stuff. Most of us don't live on farms these days, so we really should go to school all year round if you ask me. Anyway, back to the story. Ding dong! Oh, wait, hang on a second. Somebody just rang the doorbell. That's weird. It's nighttime. Why would somebody be coming over to my house now? I'll be right back. Okay, let's pause right there. So we met Andrea. We know she's our first character. She's telling us a story. Based on what you know about Andrea, how do you think you would describe her? Pause the video. Find some answers. Come on back. Okay, so going back, right here, I can see she's going on and on for a couple of paragraphs talking about parentheses and exclamation marks and how much she likes them, and also talking about school and how awesome school is. And she even said down here that she thinks that you should go all year round. That kind of leads me to think that she's a really passionate person, right? She really loves things and wants to talk about it. So Andrea, I'm thinking, is a very passionate person, meaning she cares deeply about things. So what I did is I went ahead and I went back and I found her talking about all these things, talking about the exclamation marks and the question marks and parentheses, and she was really talking about it for a long time, showing me she really cares. She even cares so much about school, she looked up why you don't go in the summer. So she's a very passionate person. So she's the one telling us the story. We also know she's a very passionate person. Okay, so let's go ahead and find out who's coming over to their house. I'll get it, said Mom, I shouted. Who could that be at this hour, my mom asked. Well, you'll never believe who rang the doorbell. It was Arlo. The number one reason why I love school? Our wonderful teachers. I love teachers because they are so nice to devote their lives to children, not even their own children. Maybe I'll be a teacher when I grow up. Maybe I'll be a veterinarian, or a singer, or a dancer. Maybe I'll be a singing and dancing veterinarian who teaches in her spare time. I'm really not sure what I want to be when I grow up, but I don't have to decide right now, do I? If you ask me, a teacher should win the Nobel Prize. That's a prize they give out to people who do something good for the world. What, you thought it was for something else? Chapter 2. Plenty of Room. When I opened the door, Arlo and his family were standing on our front porch. My mom and Arlo's mom were our best friends. They started hugging because they haven't seen each other in 2 whole weeks. I hid my notebook behind my back. Arlo might be mad if he knew I was writing this. Hi, Arlo, I said. Arlo didn't say anything. He looked mad. Say hello to Andrea, said his dad. Arlo grunted. Ugh. You came back from your vacation early, my mom said. Did something happen to you? There was a hurricane in Bermuda, Arlo's dad told us. It was pretty bad. Hurricanes usually form over large bodies of warm water, I told everyone. The water evaporates and turns into clouds when moist air rises and cools. I knew that because I looked it up in my encyclopedia. Arlo rolled his eyes. It was scary, said his sister Amy. They told everybody to evacuate. Arlo started giggling. What's so funny? I asked him. Amy just said they told everyone to evacuate, so? Evacuate's a fancy word for pooping, Arlo said. It is not, I told him. Is too. I'll look it up in my encyclopedia, I said. That will prove you're wrong. Go ahead, Arlo replied. Look it up in your dumb encyclopedia. I got my encyclopedia, which has a built-in dictionary. It's really cool because it's electronic. All you need to do is say a word, and a second later, the encyclopedia tells you the definition out loud. Evacuate, I told the encyclopedia. To discharge from the body as waste, the encyclopedia replied. See, I told you, evacuate means pooping, said Arlo. Ooh, I hate it when Arlo's right. You are so immature, I shouted. And disgusting. Your face is disgusting, Arlo replied. Stop arguing, shouted Arlo's mom. I wish you two would get along better. My parents invited Arlo's parents inside to have coffee, because that's what grown-ups do. I poured juice for Arlo and Amy. Didn't you rent out your house while you were away? My dad asked Arlo's dad. Yeah, we can't get back there for a week, Arlo's dad said. We just stopped by to let you know we're home, and we're on our way to a hotel tonight. I booked a room for a week. Hotel? My mother shouted. Don't be silly. That will cost you a lot of money. You're staying here with us. What? Arlo shouted. Oh, there isn't enough room, said Arlo's mom. We don't want to be a bother. It's a great idea, I said. Arlo and I will have fun together. I vote for the hotel, said Arlo. We have plenty of room, my mom insisted. There's a guest bedroom for the grown-ups. Amy can sleep in my office. What about me? Arlo asked. We'll put a sleeping bag on the floor in Andrea's room for you, said my mom. What? Arlo shouted. The number 2 reason why I love school? School has rules. Rules are important. If we didn't have rules, the boys would misbehave and shoot spitballs and cut line and shout things out without raising their hands first, because that's what boys do. And the next thing you know, all the boys will be running wild. There we go. In the streets and doing disgusting boy things like burping the alphabet and making armpit farts. That's why it's really important to have rules and for everybody to follow them, especially boys. So let's pause. We know that Arlo went ahead and he showed up at Andrea's house. But I thought Arlo was in Bermuda. Andrea mentioned that at the beginning of this chapter. So why is Arlo's family showing up if they're supposed to be in Bermuda? Remember, great readers go back to find their answers. So I'm going to flip back. Let's find out why his family showed back up when they're supposed to be in Bermuda. I'm going to go back to the part where they show up. Mom says, you came back from your vacation early. So let's go back, find some evidence. I want you to pause the video, write down why they came back from Bermuda early, and after you have your answer, resume the video. Go ahead. Okay, if you're back, you should have your answer. So going back to this text, I'm looking for my answer. I know this is right where the part where they were saying how I thought you were in Bermuda, so we're going to read to find out. Did something happen to you? There was a hurricane in Bermuda, Arlo's dad told us. It was pretty bad. Hurricanes usually form over large bodies of warm water, I told everybody. The water evaporates and turns into clouds, and the most moist air rises and cools. I know that because I looked it up in my encyclopedia. Arlo rolled his eyes. It was scary, said his sister Amy. They told everybody to evacuate. And this is where we get in the poop discussion. So, based off this evidence, I know there was a hurricane coming and they were told to evacuate. And after we go through that whole discussion of what evacuate means, and it means to discharge from the body as waste, or pooping, it also means to leave, right? So, they're saying poop leaves your body. They had to leave from Bermuda, so they had to evacuate. So the reason they came home early, is because a hurricane came and they were forced to evacuate. All right, let's go ahead and let's read our last chapter, chapter 3. Boys are weird. Who agrees? Oh, okay. I helped Arlo bring his stuff in from the car. This is going to be fun, I told him as we climbed the stairs. We can have a slumber party. Arlo grunted again. When we got into my room, he covered his eyes like he was shielding them from the sun. Oh, so much pink, he moaned. It's blinding me. Very funny, Arlo, I said. What are you hiding behind your back? He asked as he uncovered his eyes. Oh, nothing important, I told him. Just my secret diary. It's not for you to read. I don't want to read your dumb diary, he said. Good, I told him, because you can't. You're not allowed. It's a secret. Well, if you won't let me read it, then I want to, Arlo said, and he snatched the notebook out of my hand. Hey, give that back, Arlo, I shouted. I tried to get my notebook away from him, but he wouldn't give it to me. He sat on the floor in the corner and started reading it. There was nothing I could do. I unrolled a sleeping bag on the floor. After a few minutes, Arlo closed my notebook. First of all, he said, I'm not your boyfriend. I'm not even your friend. I'm your sworn enemy for life. Arlo's always saying things like that to me, but I know he doesn't mean them. My mother's a psychologist, and she told me that when a boy really likes a girl, he says he doesn't like her. And that's what boys do. And the more they say they don't like you, the more they really like you. So obviously, Arlo's in love with me. Boys are weird. Let's pause. We know about how Andrea feels about Arlo, right? In the very beginning of the text, I know that she referred him as her future husband. But now we're hearing a little bit about how Arlo is feeling about Andrea. Does he have the same opinion about her? What do you think? So, going back into this text, he actually says, I'm not even your friend, I'm your sworn enemy for life. So I would say he probably doesn't picture himself marrying her, but she thinks that maybe that's how boys act. So maybe it's not true. Maybe it is. I think we're going to have to get to know these characters a little bit more to find out. Who wants a toasted marshmallow? My dad hollered from downstairs. I do, Arlo and I hollered back. Who doesn't like toasted marshmallows? We ran downstairs, and our dads had fired up the grill in the backyard and gave each of us a really long stick so we could toast marshmallows. Arlo stuck his marshmallow right into the fire and then waved it around like a torch. Look, I'm in the Olympics, he said, running around the backyard. Then he slid the blackened marshmallow off the stick and ate it. Ugh, gross. You're eating pure carbon, you know, I told him. Carbon tastes great. I slowly turned my marshmallow until it was golden brown on all sides. It took a few minutes to make it perfect, but the time I finished toasting my marshmallow, Arlo had already eaten 3 or 4 burned carbon balls. We toasted a bunch of marshmallows, and then our parents said it was getting close to bedtime. Arlo and I went upstairs. I have a great idea, I said. Let's tell ghost stories. I'm tired, Arlo said as he climbed into the sleeping bag. Aren't you going to brush your teeth? I asked. No, he grunted. If you don't brush your teeth regularly, you'll get cavities, I told him. Your teeth might even fall out. Can you stop talking now? Arlo said. I'm trying to sleep. Did you ever hear of gingivitis? I asked him. That's the disease where your gums get inflamed. I don't think my gums are going to catch on fire, Arlo grunted from inside his sleeping bag. I brush my teeth 7 times a day so I won't get gingivitis, I told him. Once when I wake up, once after breakfast, once before lunch, once after lunch, once before dinner, and once after dinner, and once at bedtime. And of course, I floss and use mouthwash every day, too. You should really pay attention to your dental hygiene. Arlo? Arlo? I looked down at the floor. Arlo was asleep. The number 3 reason why I love school? There's no TV at school. TV is filled with shows about people eating worms and beating each other up and shooting guns and acting mean. That's not very nice, and it's a bad influence on children. No wonder people in the real world beat each other up, shoot guns, act mean, and eat worms. Do you know what my favorite week of the year is? TV turn-off week. Okay, so let's go ahead and pause here, and let's talk a little bit about Andrea and what her point of view is on TV. Now, you're going to need to know this for your assignment today because we're going to ask you what your opinion is. But before we do that, we need to figure out what Andrea's point of view is on TV. Point of view meaning how she thinks about it. What does she feel about TV? What's her opinion on it? I want you to pause the video. I want you to write something down. What is Andrea's point of view on TV? How does she feel about TV? Let's go back and find evidence to answer this question. Okay? Resume it when you're ready. Okay, so going back, I read how Andrea said that she loves school because there is no TV. And then she starts talking about TV is full of people eating worms and shooting guns, and that's not nice. She also says that it's a bad influence on children, meaning that children can get bad ideas from TV. And then she says that's why people in the world are beating each other up and they're mean. They're doing what people do on TV, so they're copying it. So that's what Andrea thinks about TV. She thinks TV is no good because it shows all these terrible things, and therefore people are doing terrible things. So for your assignment today in Canvas, you're going to go in there and you are going to answer a discussion board. Now this discussion board is going to be posted so everyone in the class can see it. And I want to know, and all the 3rd grade teachers want to know, do you agree with Andrea's opinion, her point of view? Do you think that TV is bad? Now, you're going to have to also support your answer with a couple of reasons. The directions are fully in Canvas, so go ahead and read them carefully and be sure that you are rereading what you are writing, that it makes sense. So go ahead and post one reply with giving a couple of reasons why to support your opinion. All right.